So, our party has just left Jigow and they're headed to Bazzoxan, and I'm going to tell you what happened on the first part of their journey. Welcome back, everybody. So our party has finished with the Festival of Merit. They're ready to head into Bazzoxan, and we're going to get into that. But before we do, I'd like to start with what went well and what could be better. So what went well with this session, I feel like my party had really good interaction with the rival party before they headed out into Bazzoxan. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but I felt like that went really well. The second thing I thought went really well is I feel like my party really understands that the journey from Jigow to Bazzoxan is dangerous and that it is in a waste-like environment. So we did that through NPCs and through our descriptions of the area as they were walking through. What could be better? The first thing is I feel like travel can always be improved. I feel like I can maybe add some encounters throughout their journey. Not necessarily as like something you have to interact with, but maybe some odds and ends that they see as they're traversing through the wastes of Xorhas. Like, I don't know, some random cactus or something else. So I'll probably do some digging into that between now and my next session. The other thing that I think could have been better is, I don't know necessarily could have been better, but it's something that went the opposite of what I planned. I had originally planned for Justice, a tiefling moorbound rider, in the Moorbounder Mayhem encounter to be heading to the Emerald Loop caravan stop. Well, in the midst of chaos and things, I had him say he was going the opposite direction, so that's not a big deal. We'll just cut him out, and I'll provide an opportunity for them to get the treasure from Justice from another NPC. Not a big deal. It's just something that didn't go according to plan, and that's okay. We're just going to roll with it. All right, so what actually happened during our session? We picked up right after the festivities of the party the next morning. Everyone the night before had been partying, celebrating the fact that our party had won the Festival of Merit. Things were great. So we open with Elder Ushru coming and knocking on their door and saying, "Hey guys, congrats, I've got something to talk to you about." So they come down in the Unbroken Tusk Inn, have breakfast. It's on Elder Ushru again. They talk with Elder Ushru for a minute, and he mentions that he noticed that they're a little bit different. They mention the vision that they had of Elixian, and he says he's never heard of Elixian before, but he had heard of the Changebringer and the Moonweaver. Kind of gives them a little bit of background on that. And the Dark Temple that was mentioned in the vision probably has ties to Bazzoxan, so they should check that out. And they can talk to Dirth Mirim, who is the Auroran Watch leader in Jigow, more about that, because the Aurora Watch pretty much runs Bazzoxan. My party kind of conversed with him a little bit. Elder Ushru also mentioned the vision that he had, and it made sense now that they had told him their vision of Elixian. After breakfast, my party went straight to Dirth Mirim to get more details on Bazzoxan. And Dirth Mirim doesn't have like a super friendly relationship with my party. He's kind of indifferent. And his personality is such that he just gives you straightforward answers that are pretty quick and to the point, and he doesn't provide a lot of fluff. So my party tried to get some more fluff out of him, and he was just straight to the point, answered their questions to the best of his ability, and didn't give any extra detail like someone who was more friendly would do. Kind of a jerk, a little bit, to the party, but not overly so. It was more the station that he's in and the role that he has. So after my party got some details about Bazzoxan from Dirth, they started to head out and they shopped a little bit. And in their shopping, they ran into the rival party who was prepping for their next quest. So the rival party in my game has been set up to go run Unwelcome Spirits, which is an adventure that is from the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount, and a lot of people use this as the precursor to the Call of the Netherdeep adventure for their party. I didn't do that. We did the Great Grung Grab. My rival party is set up to go do that. So they talked for a little while. Dmitri, our fighter, and Dermot are really good friends at this point. They had a friendly little conversation. The rest of the rival party is very friendly towards mine, but not to the extent that Dermot is towards Dmitri. Then they said, "Hey, after we're done with our quest, maybe we'll meet up with you guys in Bazzoxan." So my party is going to wait for them in Bazzoxan, I think. And the reason I did that is so that my party can travel and kind of still be the stars of this show. That's what I've decided I want the rival party to be. I want them to be flavor and add some fun and flair, but I don't want them to ever take the main role, right? I don't want them to have the jewel and to have the main focus of Elixian. I want that to be my party. So we'll run into them every now and then. We'll run into Bazzoxan and more in the future as we go through. But my party is the stars. After that, my party headed out, and day one was uneventful. As they trekked out, it's pretty close to Jigow. I felt like that made sense to me. We did describe quite a bit the change in scenery as they headed across the bridge and the river, and how things started to turn into a wasteland, and that was pretty much it. Day two, they ran into a Gloomstalker body, which is the Lucky Break encounter from the book. It's just this dead body there. They did some investigating and some searching about and saw the big scar on the Gloomstalker's body and determined that it was probably from a radiant or fire damage. And my party just jumped straight to the conclusion, oh, it's probably a dragon. I don't know why, but that's what they did. So they're under the assumption that somewhere out here in the wastes is a dragon. I'm not going to lean into it, but I'm also not going to correct it. It's kind of fun for them to kind of be looking over their shoulders as they go. Day 3, they ran into Justice, our tiefling moorbounder rider, who was being attacked by 2 bristling moorbounders. They jumped in and saved him from the bristling moorbounders and took care of that. And that's when I kind of screwed up a little bit and changed my plans, I guess is the right term there. They asked where he was coming from. He said he's headed to Jigow. So he gave them a little gold as a reward. He asked them about the path behind them, and he said that's not that bad. And he's let them know that ahead of them, there's probably some things they should watch out for. That night, to reinforce the fact that this is the wilds and it is a dangerous place, in the middle of one of the watches, I had an owlbear attack, and it's just simply because I have an owlbear mini, and it was easy for me to do that. So an owlbear attacked in the middle of the night. My party had a little bit of a hard time dealing with it, but they did. Day 4 is where things start to get really interesting. I'm using maps I found on Reddit, and I'll provide a link for those in the description below. So the map that I'm using for this next encounter, which is when they run into the roadside raiders, there is a crevice in the middle, and there's a rope bridge spanning the crevice. On the opposite side of that, from my party, are the raiders, the bandits. So my party runs into them, and the bandits try and collect their tax, right? And my party tries to talk their way out of it. They see that it's not happening, so Iris shoots a flaming arrow, lights an arrow, shoots it, hits the bridge, it starts to burn on one side. The bandit captain, 6 knives, he's like, all right, fine, whatever. He chops the other rope and watches the rope bridge fall down. He just kind of chuckles a little bit and says, good luck getting over where you need to go because it's a long way around this chasm. My party's like, crap, now what? So Jimmy casts Entangle on all the bandits. There's, I think, 11 of them, including the captain. So they're all entangled. He uses Misty Step to get across the chasm, and then Iris shoots a rope tied to an arrow across. Jimmy just barely catches it before the arrow falls down into the crevice. Just as he grabs a rope, he turns and looks up at the bandits, and he can hear them grunting, and about half of them have escaped his entangle spell and are headed his direction. And that is where we are ending our session. So we'll pick up next time with kind of a cliffhanger. It should be pretty fun and enjoyable, where they have to battle these guys, I would assume that's what's going to happen. And we'll see how that plays out. I'll let you know in the next video or two. But that's it. That's what happened in our last session. Please let me know what your party is up to. I really enjoy reading what other parties have been doing, as well as what other DMs have been changing up and adding flavor of their own. It's really fun for me. So comment down below. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe if you haven't. You guys know how that all rolls. And we'll catch you in the next one.